Today's increasing forces of big data, virtual machine sprawl, mobility, and cloud have taken yesterday's fragmented and outdated management tools beyond their limits. See how HP has solved that problem on today's HP Tech Talk. Hi, welcome to this edition of HP Tech Talks. I'm Andy McCaskey from SDR News, and in this series, we're talking about how HP is defining a new style of IT. We talk with HP experts from storage and servers and cloud networking, but today we're going to be talking about bringing it all together and the overall management of the system. And our guest today, Mr. Brad Kirby from Raleigh, North Carolina. Brad, what's your role within HP?
Yeah, I've been at HP for, about 15 years now, and I've been very much involved in the systems management space. So my team is actually responsible for working with our customers and channel partners to understand the needs that they have for managing the data center and translating those needs into a set of requirements that our R&D teams then develop into product. So for the last couple of years, we've been very, very focused on how do we make infrastructure management in the data center absolutely as simple as possible for our end users.
And of course, we're going to be focusing today on this new HP product, HP OneView. But I have to admit, when I first heard that, I was a little bit confused with the earlier product, OpenView, which is not the same thing at all, correct?
OneView is really a completely new offering from HP. And the reason that we went with that OneView name, perhaps despite the likeness to OpenView, is because we're really trying to connote the fact that OneView manages not just a portion of the HP infrastructure portfolio, but it's going to manage the entire portfolio. So with the first version of OneView here, we're really starting with blades and connectivity management focused on Virtual Connect. But of course, over time, we're going to expand that story and be able to do management of HP storage arrays and be able to do management of HP networking gear. So it's really one view into the management of your data center, if you will.
So the driver then is agility and trying to get a handle on increased complexity, or are there other drivers that you're addressing with the product?
Yeah, clearly systems management is all about driving better agility and reducing cost for IT organizations. If you look at all of the analyst data, typically what they'll tell you is that the cost of hardware acquisition is really a small portion of the overall data center operating cost. The far larger portion focuses on the ongoing maintenance of the infrastructure that's present in the data center already. And really what OneView is doing is taking a new approach to the way that organizations can do management by leveraging concepts like templates, where your subject matter experts are able to design the way that the infrastructure needs to look in software. And then you can have other, perhaps lower level individuals within the organization actually carrying out those configuration tasks. But because you've defined it once in the template, you know that the configuration of the hardware is going to happen the same way every time, so you reduce error. And then there's a lot less administrator interaction with the actual hardware. You deploy this template out to multiple systems within the data center, and they all get configured, as opposed to having to configure these machines one by one by one by one. And of course, there are many other things I think that we'll talk about later, map view and search, other functions that really make it easier for organizations to pinpoint particular resources and also understand the correlation between resources as you're trying to track down a troublesome error within the infrastructure.
I've heard people at HP refer to this as a consumerization of design. Do you think that that's a fair characterization, or does it kind of trivialize the amount of work that's actually being handled by HP OneView?
No, not at all. I actually think consumerization is a good term. I forget exactly who said it, but the quote was, simplicity is on the far side of complexity, right? I think consumerization is a good thing because it's taken very, very complicated concepts and very, very complicated technologies and made it so simple that you can use these things without having to really think about how it's supposed to operate. And that's what we're trying to do with HP OneView is we're trying to make these systems management tools operate in a way that people are used to using IT within their everyday lives. Great quote from our senior technologist within the server team. He said, look, there's not a tree view for the internet. You search the internet. And we've incorporated a very powerful search function, for example, within HP OneView, because if you're managing thousands and thousands of devices within your organization, trying to pinpoint a particular server or a particular component within a server can't be done effectively by traversing a tree. You want to have a very powerful search engine like you have with Google today. Or you want to have the ability to communicate in real time with other administrators within your organization. One thing that we're all very accustomed to now with instant messaging or services like Facebook is the ability to reach out and automatically or instantaneously communicate with other folks that are within our circle of friends. We brought that same concept to OneView with the activity feed, where if there's a complex task that may require multiple individuals, the activity feed allows them to input information about the tasks that have been done, the status or the amount of time towards completion, let others know in the organization that their particular task has been completed and the next individual in the chain is ready to take over. So what we mean by consumerization in this case is taking some of the very powerful concepts from the internet that we use today in our consumer lives and applying those to HP OneView.
Well, as you've been explaining, one of the things that is really striking to me is how you're kind of taking the value-added tasks where administrators are really solving complex problems, and you've enabled them to bring internet-style tools to that, and then maybe some of the lower-ordered, more repetitious, non-value-added tasks. That's what the system automates. Is that correct?
One of the problems that you have with repetitive tasks, right, is because you have to do them over and over again, you introduce a chance for error. So bringing these templates and profiles into the picture means that we're really removing that error. You design what the hardware needs to look like once, and then you apply that many times. The other thing that we found in doing a lot of the research with HP OneView is that the tools did a good job of, or many tools, many management tools did a good job of automating some very specific things, but then they did not do a good job of connecting the dots together and allowing the management team that was responsible for deploying a complex service to communicate effectively with each other. And they were using spreadsheets and sticky notes and really low-tech mechanisms to kind of connect the dots between the various management tasks that needed to happen. And that's one of the things that we're so excited about with the HP OneView is you get the ability to drive that communication within the tool itself, as opposed to using less convenient mechanisms that live outside of the tool.
So then the communication between and amongst the people that are involved is one aspect. The system, of course, is also looking at the sensors and physically coupled into the data center as well, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We communicate with the management processors on all of the systems, which enables us to get very detailed information about the health of the system without having to have lots of additional software installed on the servers themselves. We rely heavily on agentless management. It also allows us to understand, the power and thermal profile of the data center. One of the things that you'll see in OneView that we're very excited about is a 3D thermal map that helps you understand which areas of the data center are cooler, which areas of the data center are hotter. And this information is actually very important when you're looking to deploy new infrastructure, potentially move workloads around within the data center. So yes, very much OneView is tied in very closely with all of the very detailed instrumentation that lives within the server itself.
What sort of process did you use to make sure that it was mapped to the needs that data administrators have today?
There's really no substitute for talking to our end users, talking to our partners, talking to the folks in our pre-sales community that interact with customers on a day-to-day basis. So, we had, I believe it was over 30 focus groups that we had done. We had, 7 full UI walkthroughs that involve customers. We rendered and tested over 5,000 UI panels, making sure that we got everything right. So tremendous amount of interaction with all of the people that are stakeholders in ensuring that this product is successful and does what it needs. So probably one of the most researched systems management products that I've ever had the pleasure to be associated with.
Usually at this point, I'll ask where people can go for more information, and we'll get to that in a moment. But one of the things I think is really quite exciting is you've got a trial where you can spin this up on a virtual machine, and tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one of the great things is the production OneView software is actually an appliance that runs in a virtual machine. So that's how you're going to deploy it. And what we've done is, in order to facilitate trial of the product, you get the production software that you can download from HP's website, and it comes with a 60-day license built into it. So you can try HP OneView at no additional cost, and then we feel confident that you're going to like what you see. And then you have the ability to purchase production licenses for as many servers as you would like within your environment. But yeah, that 60-day trial license is built in. And when the software becomes available at the end of October, you'll simply be able to download it, turn it on in a VMware virtual machine, and go to town, boot it up, and start managing.
Well, it's certainly going to be an exciting time and a great way for people to have a chance to try it out directly in their environment. Brad, any final thoughts? And I will ask you, where should people go for more information on HP OneView?
If you want to try out HP OneView or learn more about HP OneView, you'll want to go to www.hp.com/go/OneView, and that will take you to the main site. And when the software is ready, give you an opportunity to download the production software and try that out within your environment.
Okay, Brad, thanks very much for joining us here today, and thanks to you folks as well. I look forward to seeing you next time here on HP Tech Talks.